The Fed15 podcast is presented by Serving Those Who Serve, a financial planning practice serving federal government employees and retirees all over the country. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be taken as financial advice. All listeners should consult their personal advisors before taking any action. The opinions expressed by our hosts are their own and do not reflect the views, policies, or position of either Raymond James or Serving Those Who Serve. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Serving Those Who Serve is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services, Inc. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Fed15 podcast presented by Serving Those Who Serve. Each week, we'll discuss the latest news and info that feds need to know in 15 minutes or less. So whether you are a seasoned federal employee or whether you're just starting out in your career, Fed15 has got you covered. Grab your coffee, kick back, and we'll tell you what you need to know but might have missed this week. We're your hosts. I'm Katelyn Murray, and I am joined by Mr. Dan Sipe himself.
Hey, Katelyn, how are you?
Oh, hanging in.
So
It's that federal government
any,
winter.
You see any feds this week? Did you talk to any feds?
Yeah,
Like only 50 or 60?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been a lot, folks. You're going through a lot, and we are right there with you.
Absolutely.
Trying to help you have the information and knowledge you need to make beneficial decisions for you and your family.
And Katelyn, I know you share this. I feel very, very fortunate and blessed that we are in a position to help people as much as we are. Anybody who knows my background, this goes all the way back to 1988 for me. And, prior to, these last 8-10 weeks, there were a number of times that I would come home and say to Mary, I think your dad would be proud of me today. Now I truly feel to my core that my late father-in-law would be mightily proud of us, all of us with this group. And folks, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep generating the content and the pieces so that you have what you need to make the best decisions for you and your family through this trying time. Nobody likes RIFs. Nobody. This will be my fourth. But there are things that we can do to make sure that they are as small a disruption as possible. And that's who we are. That's what we're about. That's what you can count on from us. Right, Katelyn?
Absolutely. We'll be here. Well, with that in mind, we do have some interesting articles that we're going to cover this week that are kind of directly related to what is happening in the federal space right now. So Dan's going to cover a piece that we've got on the return to work mandate and kind of considerations that you want to take into account when you're making decisions around that. And then I will be back at the wheel covering a piece that we've got, really great piece on the blog this week, reduction in force, RIFF processes. We've got a Q&A piece there that's got some information for you. So Dan, talk to us a little bit about how to navigate this decision around the return to work mandate.
Yeah, boy howdy. I can remember when return to work was the most disruptive thing that people could have imagined could be happening right now. And as we've seen, some other things have certainly come before. And I encourage you to head to the site, read the article. It's should I stay or should I go? That is a super loaded question, folks, because and we get it. We are there interfacing with feds every single day. So we know about the feds that were hired fully remote and have family obligations and things like that were beautifully woven into the tapestry of their lives. And now it's, hey, you have to come back. Well, how far away is the office? Is there parking? Do I have a desk? Those are the things that we're encountering in the reality. And those are trauma. Sorry, they are traumatic to come face to face with those. We want to be careful that trauma isn't grabbing the wheel in our decision-making process. So yes, number one, relative to the return to office, is it in any way physically feasible. Okay. Important consideration there to weigh into it. If you determine that that is not the case, well, now you've got two paths that begin to open up. If you are fortunate to have a federal career of a number of decades, you may very well be eligible for an early retirement, or you may simply be looking to continue your career path in another place. You may return to federal service at some point. You may not. So those are the types of decision forks that you're going to find. If you follow an early retirement decision fork, is it I'm retired forever? Or am I just making sure I've secured my benefits for the rest of my life? So be deliberate in your thought process here. And when you get to our article, we're taking you through the considerations. So we give you a refresher on the benefits and how they work. I want to leave enough time for Katelyn's Q&A because that's super important right now. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through those. But you do have the ability, if you have enough years and you've reached certain ages, that you can take a form of an early retirement that will make sure you keep your health insurance for the rest of your life. I'm not pitching these as being an amazing outcome, but they are a place where you can make the best of a poor situation. And that's what we want to make sure. So head over, hit the article. I think if you follow sort of that decision tree that I just talked about, you're going to get the most out of it. And if you're looking for the opportunity to have a thought partner to talk it through, meetings at Serving Those Who Serve. We are going to be talking to people and answering questions every single day, no matter what. They might as well be yours. So, Katelyn, let's talk about this Q&A on RIFs.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to start this by saying, please do not let your investigation of this article end with listening to me talk about it. There's a lot of information there. We're not going to go through all of the questions. We've got specific questions around FEGLI, FEHB, TSP. I'm going to focus on the broad strokes here just to give you kind of a taste of kind of what this piece is about. But essentially, facing a RIF has massive impacts for your federal employee benefits, your retirement, and your financial plan as a whole. Preparation and awareness of the options that are available to you are key to making sure that you manage this transition as effectively as possible. So, Dan, we talked a lot about, and I think in the Return to Work article, there is a focus on kind of the trauma of it all, the life processing. Like, I have to go here and do this, and here are my responsibilities. And if I'm commuting an hour and a half each way every day, obviously that's going to cause some reprioritization. This article is focused a little bit more on the nuts and bolts of benefits and what is available to you and what is not. So I think one of the most difficult things about what feds are having to go through right now is you're having to wade through this massive pool of information about employee benefits. And it's hard to discern what applies to you and what does not, what options are available to you and what options are not. And that's really
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really where we, as Serving Those Who Serve, are trying to step in to help you navigate that. So in our webinars and in all of our articles, we're kind of focused on, okay, here's what applies to you, here's what doesn't. So definitely recommend that you read this RIF Q&A that we've got up on the website. Couple questions that I think are really highly relevant here. How do I prepare for the RIF process? This thing is going on. We didn't expect it. It's sort of swept in out of nowhere, and I've got a lot of emotions about it. But once I get past those emotions, or once I sort of set these emotions over here and look at it logically, what do I need to do? First of all, you need to review how your benefits may be impacted. That's health insurance with FEHB, FedVIP for your vision and dental, life insurance through FEGLI, retirement with TSP and FERS, or CSRS if you're part of that camp. You also want to evaluate your TSP and the rest of your investment portfolio and understand accessibility rules during separation. This can come down to if you're 55 or older. Typically a traditional IRA or Roth IRA, you cannot access those funds until 59 and a half. With the TSP, there's something called the rule of 55, where if you are 55 years old at the time you separate from service, you can access that TSP. So you have a little window of liquidity if you're 55 or older when you're separating that you need to be aware of. Now, be careful of extrapolating. That does not mean, Katelyn, if my TSP is liquid, that means I should leave $1.5 million just sitting there. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on how much money you're going to need in those 5 years before, you're 59 and a half and have some more mobility and some more liquidity options there. You also want to look at the rest of your investment portfolio. If you have a brokerage account, which is a non-retirement investment account, you could lean on that. You want to kind of get a sense of how many acorns you have stored up. You want to look at job transition opportunities or rehire lists. And for this, Mr. Dan Sipe himself has created an article on the reemployment priority list that is also on our blog. We will have that linked in the YouTube description below for our folks who are joining us on YouTube.
Sure.
If you're not joining us on YouTube, just go to STWServe.com and search reemployment priority list, or you can hit up Dan Sipe's column. Should be pretty close to the top because it's a fairly recent piece. But you want to look at your options for rehire, especially if you're one of our feds who is just narrowly missing the ability to carry their benefits forward into retirement. If you need a year, if you need 2 years, you want to be on that rehire list because
sometimes even a month.
Yeah, sometimes even a month, because here's the thing. You may say, why would I ever work for the federal government again? It fluctuates, right? And the number of, throughout all of these RIFs that we've been through and government downsizing initiatives, the number stayed fairly constant, Dan. I think it's between 2 million and 2.2 million.
Great point, Katelyn.
Yeah. Yep. So every period of shrinkage is followed by a period of growth typically. And if you only need your 6 months or a year, get your 6 months or a year and carry your health insurance through to retirement. So, obviously you want to run all this through an advisor and vet it, but the value of having those federal benefits in retirement cannot be overstated, in my opinion.
Agree. And we want you to get them.
Yeah. And lastly, the other thing that you can do to prepare for a RIF process, listen, I have been told by feds that nobody at HR is answering the phone. HR is not immune from the downsizing. Okay. Sure. We understand that it's hard to get information. This is why you need to talk with a financial advisor who's familiar with federal benefits. This is why you need to have a resource so that you can get your hands around this thing. And in this time, I don't think HR is going to be, I don't think they have the availability to be the resource for you. So that's also something that you want to consider. Now, this is another big question that we're getting from feds. Do I get severance pay in a RIF? So if you have had at least one continuous year of service, you may be eligible to receive severance pay. Here's the thing though. This is not a stackable thing. You are not eligible for severance if you are entitled to an immediate retirement annuity or if you're reemployed by the government shortly thereafter. Okay. So if a good way to think about this, because we get this question a lot in our webinars, if you are retiring and going to be collecting an annuity immediately, no severance for you. Okay. You can't do the severance and the annuity collection on top of each other. The payment amount for your severance is going to be based on your years of service and your pay grade. Okay. Now, another big question also that we're getting, and these two I wanted to highlight because we're getting a lot of these on our webinars, and we'll talk more about the webinars here in a moment. If I'm RIF'd now and I defer my retirement, if I'm RIF'd now and I'm under age 62, let's say, and I defer my retirement benefit, I'm not collecting my annuity until I'm 62. Does that mean that I get the 1.1 times pension factor, Dan Sipe?
Unfortunately, no.
No. The only way that you can get the 1.1 times pension multiplier is if you are working for the government at age 62. And you leave at age 62 or later with at least 20 years of service. The 20 years of service is important too, because I've got folks who are 62, but they got 19 years of service. They don't get the 1.1 times pension multiplier. Here's the thing. I get it. We talk a lot about the 1.1 times pension multiplier when we're talking retirement planning for feds. It's a 10% raise in retirement effectively that gets adjusted for inflation every year. It's a big deal. I understand why feds are doing all sorts of mental gymnastics trying to see if they can get that. The only way you get it is if you separate from service at age 62 or later with those 20 years of service. So what this means is the multiplier is not available through VERA. It's not available through discontinued service retirement. And it's not available through deferred or postponed retirement. The only way you're getting that is if you submit an application for immediate retirement with full eligibility at age 62 and 20 years of service, okay? Now, it can be a DSR situation where you're being RIFFed, okay? And it feels like a discontinued service retirement because it's not voluntary. But if you're being RIFFed and you can submit an application for immediate retirement, it's technically not a discontinued service retirement, even though it kind of feels like one, right? The technical term for discontinued service retirement is I'm not eligible for an immediate retirement annuity. So wanted to touch on that one. I know it's kind of a bummer. I get it. But there unfortunately is no way around that age and service requirement for the 1.1 times multiplier. So definitely recommend that you go to our website and check out that article. The name of that article is How to Navigate the Reduction in Force Process Q&A. You can find it under my column. You can also just search for it in the search bar, and we will have it linked for our YouTube friends in the description box below as well.
Absolutely. Katelyn, great stuff. You know, that article is robust and it's exactly what folks are going to need right now. And folks, that is all the time we have for today, but have no fear. We'll be back again next week without fail. We're not going anywhere to bring you the latest updates you need to make informed decisions about your career and financial well-being as a Fed.
Of course, and so that you can make sure you're there to see that episode next week with all those important updates, make sure that you are subscribed. Our analytics shows us that somewhere around 3/4 of the folks who are watching our YouTube videos are not subscribed. So make sure that you click the subscribe button below in the description box so that you never miss an episode on our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe on Spotify. Please also remember to share the episode with your friends and colleagues. Help us boost the signal. Help us reach more Feds.
And you know, just to expand upon that, simply by subscribing, you are putting us in a place where YouTube is going to show it to more Feds. And the more Feds we reach, the more we can help. So even if you're not that excited about having my baby face showing up all the time, letting you know the next episode, please do that for the benefit of your colleagues. And for more information on the topics covered today and all the stuff that we do, because there's plenty that doesn't make it to podcast, check out our blog at blog.stwserve.com. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, The Weekly Serving. Then you get the latest and greatest delivered directly to your inbox each and every single week.
And for those who want to dive even deeper into learning about your federal benefits and financial planning for Feds, we do encourage you to join us for one of our complimentary webinars. You can find the full list on our website at STWServe.com. But just to highlight a couple of really relevant ones that are coming up, we've got FEHB coming up on May 21st. That's going to be from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. with Mr. Dan Sipe as host. We also have our early retirement, discontinued service retirement, VERA, and assorted items webinar on May 28th. That's going to be from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m., little afternoon session with yours truly. I will be hosting that one for you. If you prefer a one-on-one approach, we can absolutely help you with that as well. Feel free to reach out to our team directly for a financial planning consultation at meetings@stwserve.com.
Absolutely. We're standing by for you. So let's wrap up by saying thank you for your service. Thank you for listening to Fed15. I'm Dan Sipe.
And I'm Katelyn Murray.
And we will absolutely positively see you next week.